All right, guys, listen up. This is big because another diesel shop owner in the same exact state just had his entire case completely dismissed for deleting diesel emissions. And if you've been following my channel, you know I've covered a similar story where another Wyoming mechanic actually got a full presidential pardon for the same type of charges. Now, when that happened, I told you guys, I predicted that by the end of this year, we're gonna see diesel delete laws. They're gonna start to loosen up, or at least the standards would be weakened. And honestly, it's starting to look really, really good for us. Now, I didn't want to jump into this story too early, and I didn't want to overhype anything or make a video without any real facts. I've been kind of sitting back, watching updates, waiting on some serious concrete evidence here. And as of Wednesday, literally the day before Thanksgiving, we got breaking news. So Wyoming's top federal prosecutor just dropped the entire felony level case against this man right here. Completely dismissed. It's completely gone. This has never happened before. No diesel shop owner has ever had a federal criminal emissions tampering case ever drop like this. And we're gonna go ahead and break down exactly what this means and why this could be the clearest sign yet that delete enforcement is changing across the entire country. But really quickly, before we dive into this full story, you guys already know Black Friday closeouts are live, and this is your very last chance. You guys can save money on diesel truck parts for your Duramax, your Power Stroke, or your Cummins. And also remember, every dollar that you spend right now gets you guys 70 times entries to win Switchblade. It's gonna be our lifted Silverado on 37s plus $5 grand in cash. Now this giveaway shuts down Monday at midnight, so that would be December 1st, and the winner gets drawn December 10th. So if you're already entered, I would say thank you very much. Keep your phones on. I'll leave that link in the description below. Just pick up something on the website so you guys can get entered in to win this sweet truck. So today we're gonna go ahead and break down what happened and how a Wyoming senator and the Diesel Liberation Act tied into all of this, and what this means for the future of diesel tuning and deletes. So let's just go ahead and get right into this. So if you're new to this story, here's a quick recap. So Levi Kresh, he's a 31-year-old diesel mechanic from Gillette, Wyoming. And earlier this year, he was hit with 2 felony charges under the Clean Air Act. So one would be conspiracy to violate the act, and then the other one, of course, is just tampering with emissions. Levi was staring down a sentence of 7 years in federal prison, and his shop was raided by agents back in 2022, and his business was completely crippled. And I can only imagine the amount of pressure this guy was dealing with. And according to the article that I read, about 80% of his shop work was called rescues. These were oil field trucks and ranch rigs in brutal Wyoming winters that would shut down because DEF froze, sensors failed, and emission systems kept putting trucks into limp mode. And these weren't show trucks, these were workhorses. And the other 20% of his business was your usual aftermarket work. So basically his court date was repeatedly delayed. And that delay had everybody wondering what is going on behind the scenes. On Wednesday, Wyoming's U.S. attorney, his name is Darren Smith, he officially filed to dismiss the entire case. So what does that mean? So that means that there's no plea deal, there's no jail time, there's no probation, there's no fines, there's no felony on his record. It's just completely gone. And according to Levi's attorney, this may be the first time in U.S. history, now hear me out, that a federal criminal emissions tampering case has ever been outright dismissed. Normally, the government doesn't just back down from these. They actually push harder, and you guys remember that. I've made many YouTube videos covering stories of guys just like this who have dealt with the same exact thing. But Smith explained that dropping the case was in the best interest of the public. It kind of seems like they're putting a little bit of common sense back into their state, and also that prosecutors needed to focus more on serious crimes. So not in those words, but that's what I was reading in the article. Now, here's the thing. When Levi got the good news here, he was in shock and emotional. I want to assume that. I can only imagine what this guy was going through. After years of living under federal pressure, he finally got his life back. This is a massive win for him, but also a signal for every diesel owner and every shop owner in America. Think about it. So let's just go ahead and tie all of this in. This is why I wanted to make this video. I know I covered this last time, but just weeks ago, another Wyoming diesel shop owner, his name's Troy Lake, he received a full presidential pardon from our US president. And this guy actually did serve time in prison for the same exact type of diesel-related charges. So just think about this for a second. One guy gets pardoned, another guy gets his case dismissed entirely. So we're talking about the same state, the state of Wyoming, same type of work, deleting diesel trucks, or just being a diesel mechanic, same laws, same exact laws. So this isn't random, this isn't a pattern. We're talking about 2 federal actions in the same state dealing with the same issue, both coming out positive for basically all of us, for diesel owners. And this is exactly why people across the country are paying attention right now. I know this story isn't covered a whole lot. That's why I'm making this as well. But people are starting to pay attention. So let's just go ahead and talk about what this actually means and why this matters. So a Wyoming state senator, I talked about her as well earlier, she has been pushing a bill called the Diesel Liberation Act. And this senator has been extremely vocal about the exact issue Levi was charged over. The senator says that rural states like Wyoming face unique problems: emission systems freezing in sub-zero temperatures, DEF tanks cracking, sensors failing, trucks going into limp mode on job sites, oil field workers losing hours of work, ranchers losing time. And this is another big one: emergency responders that can't rely on trucks that are consistently regenning or shutting down. He has argued publicly that the federal government is overreaching in punishing mechanics who are simply trying to keep work trucks running in real world conditions. People don't understand that. I'm not gonna read you guys the entire Diesel Liberation Act, but this is kind of what it aims to. It aims to protect small diesel shops from criminal prosecution. It also allows certain modifications for off-road, farm, ranch, and industrial vehicles. It also clarifies what actually is legal. It reduces federal penalties. It recognizes tuning as a potential emissions improvement technology, which that's what it really should do. And it also modernizes outdated Clean Air Act interpretations, because all those interpretations were from unelected officials. If you think about it, they didn't even know what the heck they're talking about. But it gives states more flexibility. So from what I'm seeing, the state of Wyoming, you are now the pace setter of the entire country. And I would say that the rest of the country does need to get on board. Now, this senator has specifically highlighted Levi's situation and said that it's a perfect example of why reform is needed. I really like this senator. I wish she can come over to our state too. But when senators, a governor, local officials, even a president are talking about delete cases, trust me, prosecutors are paying attention. I mean, if you think about it, the government spent years on this guy's case. They raided his shop, they froze his business, they put felony charges on his actual name, and then they suddenly dropped everything. So this is what this tells me. Public pressure is rising. Politicians are stepping in. You guys are already seeing this, but the EPA's aggressive stance from the past versus now has really softened. Prosecutors don't want to spend years on cases that don't look good publicly. The diesel community finally has a voice. I know that was a big one. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it gives hope to shop owners who have been scared to death of these laws. It gives diesel owners a real reason to speak up, and it shows that change might actually be possible. I would say that this whole dismissal shows that federal prosecutors may back off low-volume shops. So I think they're still going after the big fish, but they are backing off a little bit from the smaller shops. So in a nutshell, that's basically the full update on Levi Kresh's case. It's completely dismissed. He's no longer serving 7 years in prison. Basically, another Wyoming diesel shop owner was completely pardoned. The Diesel Liberation Act is picking up steam, and the diesel community is finally seeing a real movement here. If you guys want more updates like this, just hit the like button for me and subscribe. I'll keep you guys posted, of course. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole thing. It's crazy. I know it's still illegal to delete a diesel truck. We all know that stuff. It's still illegal to remove emissions off of a vehicle, but we're seeing really good things right now. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to build cool trucks on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, definitely check out the website. We sell tons of stuff: Banks products, Edge monitors, air dogs, even inexpensive diagnostic scan tools. I love these things. They're nice. SP tools, electric impacts, things like that. You know, of course, really high-end ratchets and socket sets. So check out our website, because you never know, you might actually win this truck. It's the very last chance that you can get. I love this thing. I'm going to miss it. So help me with that by simply just purchasing something on the website so you guys can get your name in the hat for that. So in a sense, this is going to be more or less a to be continued. But if you guys don't know, I'm buying trucks on Copart now. My content is kind of shifting. I think it's kind of fun to be able to buy unknown vehicles, see what kind of problems they have, and try to restore them. I'm sort of waiting on the title game right now. I haven't received the title yet for that. It's already been over a month. I'm a little sad. So that's kind of why I've stopped putting money into it. So I'm sure you guys can understand. This is a diesel channel, and I'm sure a lot of you guys that watch this channel are on board as well. But we'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned.